we're in. Let's see. Did you look at the slides from last time where I talked about somebody else's social recon? Not Pat the homeless guy, but her friend Betty. Okay, well, it's germane to the topic. See, most of our alcohol problems come from overdosing. And that's from the point of view of that alcohol is a drug and drugs come in doses, and taking a pharmacological point of view of alcohol instead of it being a lifestyle choice. Right? So for example, this person did, our friend called Betty who went to a bar for a Thursday. So she's been a problem drinker since she met her. On this Thursday, we set out for just one beer. Now, remember the Churchill cheerleader who basically said she had a couple of coolers, and they actually turned out to be not two 12-ounce bottles, but two 2-liter bottles. So just one beer, well, what could that mean? If that's just a single 12-ounce bottle, all well and good. But if it's a 40, then that's a problem. So we both ordered the Thirsty Thursday special, a 24-ounce light draft. All right, so that's right there, 2 doses. From 6 to midnight until they offer a $3 drink menu. I see a lot of neon beer signs, Drop Top, Sierra Nevada. I'm not going to go through the advertisement. Eugene's Thursday night. Time plus, Jaeger bombs from the buy the ladies a drink. So Betty, who set out for one beer, has consumed 3 24-ounce Bud Lights and a Jaeger bomb. This point is now only 8:30. We've been at the bar for a little over 2 hours. She's slurring her speech. Her tone is elevated. She's become somewhat confrontational. She's not able to follow the conversation and is repeating herself constantly. Now, this is sign of a blackout. If you've never seen somebody in it, remember, blackout is when you're no longer processing memory in real time, so that you repeat yourself because you can't remember what you just said because it isn't in memory. So you would never do that under normal circumstances. You'd be lame. And we also all want to have our look good, right? So you don't want to look dumb. You don't want to repeat yourself. But when it's a clear indicator somebody's in a blackout when they're repeating themselves constantly, as if they don't remember, because they don't remember. She finished up her 4th 24-ounce, and I gave her the head nod, it's time to go. She has to go to work in the morning, and I need to get out of there. It's really not a fun time being around drunk people when you are sober. Betty and I say our goodbyes and head for the door. She is rambling on about how happy she is that in the last 2 weeks, she's only drank twice, now 3 times. She's yammering on about how I should be proud of her and how good she is doing. I mentioned it'd be cooler if she had gone 2 weeks with no drinking at all. She agrees. All right, so 4 24 ounces, so that's 8 beers, plus what's in a Jaeger bomb, which is, there's bartenders in here, right? What's a Jaeger bomb?
Red Bull and a shot of Jaeger.
Okay, now, you've heard of Four Loko, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so in the old days, old school drug counselors used to say that it's useless to give somebody coffee when they're drunk because that just simply means they'll be awake for the accident. All right? So the way, in terms of studying this from a pharmacological point of view, caffeine and alcohol are working on different parts of the brain. Okay? Alcohol is a sedative hypnotic, which is basically dulling one part of the brain, and the caffeine is working on another part of the brain, so that, in fact, you would be awake for the accident. So, as an example, all right. Have I defined what a drug is for you yet? What is it?
Anything that changes your normal person.
Okay. Let's use this definition. A drug. Substance that changes normal function of living tissue. All right, so there's drug half-life. Okay, so just like in nuclear physics, right? Time period goes, half of the drug is gone, another time period goes, another half of the drug is gone until it's gone. Drug half-life is usually calculated in 4 periods. Okay, so example, THC by itself, marijuana has a 7-day half-life, which is why it takes 28 days to detox the last dose. That's why it lasts so long in your system. Alcohol, ethanol, ETOH, 15-minute half-life, because basically it's an inverted sugar. So that's 1 dose per hour. Okay, 15-minute half-life. So this is routes or routes, depending on how you pronounce it. I say routes of administration. There's 2, basically, for drugs. Enteral, it's in the GI tract. So, from your mouth to anus. Okay, so from your mouth to your anus, one continuous tube, just closed off by muscles. Sphincters, called. Right? So, there is a reason that we don't drink from our anus. Okay? So, when people, I couldn't actually believe that people were actually doing this. I thought it was just something I saw on cable, 1,000 Ways to Die, where, this guy who's alcoholic basically takes a douche bag or an enema bag and pours, half a fifth of Jack's in his behind. And basically he can't stand up. By the time he stands up and staggers into the corridor of the trailer, of course it's a trailer, right? And whatever. He's dead. Right? Saw a bit with Bill Maher on HBO where he's talking about, college students doing the same thing and coding from basically like a glass or 2 of wine or something like that.
I was just going to say it's like all the rage now.
Yeah.
There's a news article about it in the paper.
Yeah.
Recently.
So, it becomes, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I know this man who went to jail for a DUI.
Mm-hmm.
and he told me that he met someone who snuck in with drugs in there.
Uh-huh.
What does that do if you put drugs that way? How does it affect your body?
Well, okay, so here's the deal. The reason that we are designed to take in things through our mouth is when we swallow, it gets into our stomach and therefore slowly absorbed and into the bloodstream and gets filtered by the liver slowly. In fact, all drugs are calculated to work like this. That's why you take X amount of, you take this drug 3 times a day, because the first dose that you take gets into your bloodstream as the active dose, and the liver is constantly breaking it down, so that's why you take another one, so that you have a constant therapeutic level, therapeutic meaning what you want the drug to do, in your bloodstream. And that's why they also say, in terms of if you're taking an antibiotic, don't stop taking it when the symptoms disappear. Take the entire script, because you want to kill everything that's there, and you don't want the bugs to adapt to the antibiotic. All right? Now, when you take it, remember now it's one continuous tube, and the tube itself is designed to absorb nutrients. All right? Now, by the time food, for example, gets to your colon, there's friendly bacteria, among other things in the cell, that are taking the water out so that your poop is solid. Right? So it's designed to absorb stuff directly, and your colon wants the water to go into your bloodstream to hydrate you. Right? So if you do a beer syringe in your anus, you're now bypassing the liver, and you have all that alcohol directly dumped into your bloodstream, which means you go faster. Because remember, I showed you that progressive intoxication? That's based on the liver acting on the alcohol. Okay? Slowly. Okay? So what happens then, you bypass that, then you have a bunch of alcohol instantly, and it's a poison, essentially, and it will stop your heart. Right? So that's part of the challenge with that. So there's a reason why we don't drink through our butts. You think people would. But, we get... it's nature's way of, I guess, think of it as evolution in action. Their genes simply won't be replaced in the gene pool. Tragic if it's a friend of yours or a relative, but I mean, what can I say? There's reasons why we don't do things like that. Parenteral is basically outside of the GI tract, so that would be skin, lungs, so that includes smoking, snorting, injecting.